Hello, good evening, welcome. This is Hot Edition. We're live from a news about Adesawe Kanda, also live on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale. We're also live on W93.5 in Wa and beyond. I am Alfred Okanse. This evening, transport operators suspend proposed 30% fare hike pending next fuel price window. We'll tell you what is happening right now on the world market, because price of crude oil have been reducing since last night after the announcement of a temporary ceasefire between Iran, the United States and Israel, and also what's happening in Russia and Ukraine. Stay with us. We've got details for you. Also, a massive gas leakage reported at Tema Community 7 as firefighters have moved in to contain the situation. And this is for you who's listening to us on your radio on the way. If you're using the Tema motorway into Tema Community 7, stay with us. We're going to give you an update on this massive gas leakage reported at Tema Community 7. Also this evening here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, governing NDC holds crucial meeting over its internal elections. Will appointees sacrifice juicy positions in government to serve their party? We'll seek the answers this evening here on Hot Edition. And Ashanti caucus of the New Patriotic Party MPs spearhead a vigil for incarcerated chair of the Ashanti region NPP, Chama Wontumi, to encourage, pray for him and solidarize with the outspoken leader. Details of these and more here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Also on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and on W93.5 in Wa and beyond. Let's get into a summary of the news now, and Deborah Mensah is here. Debbie.
All right, top on the news summary. A 40-year-old man identified as Yao Nyako, who was alleged to have attempted to rape a woman, has been killed by the woman's 28-year-old brother, Bismarck Bafa, at Achim Batafi in the Eastern region. And the suspect, Bismarck Bafa, is currently in police custody, assisting with investigations after voluntarily surrendering to the Achim Oda police. And also, the minority has accused the government of failing to prioritize spending in critical sectors of the economy, arguing that the misallocation of public resources is slowing economic growth and undermining national development. Parliament has begun the debate on the 2026 media budget review, with the opposition MPs criticizing the government over a revenue shortfall despite the introduction of new tax measures aimed at boosting domestic revenue mobilization. Also, the Ghana School Feeding Program is intensifying efforts to improve the nutritional quality of meals served to school children, with caterers being equipped with a new nutrition manual and menu guide. The initiative, supported by the World Bank in collaboration with the Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research, is designed to guide caterers on meal preparation, food hygiene, and the right combination of food items needed to provide children with a balanced diet. And also, a gas tanker has been reported to have developed a leakage at Tema Community 7 in front of the Tema Technical Institute bus stop. And the Ghana National Fire Service, in a post today, July 28, said the firefighters from the Tema Industrial Area and Motorway fire stations have been dispatched to the scene to contain the situation. And the last news summary: government, pharmaceutical manufacturers, and industry leaders have renewed calls for greater investment in local pharmaceutical production, innovation, and skills development to reduce Ghana's dependence on imported medicines and position the country as a pharmaceutical manufacturing hub in Africa. Alfred, that's all for the news summary.
Thank you, Deborah. Deborah Mensah with the summary of the news. You can find more on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. This is Hot Edition. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale, and also on W93.5 in Wa and beyond. And news we've been monitoring over the last 2 to 3 hours, when we got information that a massive gas leakage from a gas tanker has been reported at Tema Community 7 in front of the Tema Technical Institute bus stop. The Ghana National Fire Service has deployed firefighters from the Tema Industrial Area and motorway fire stations to the scene to contain the situation and prevent any potential danger. If you're listening to us right now, you can log on to 3FM 927 on Facebook and also on YouTube. That's 3FM 92.7 on Facebook and on YouTube. We are streaming live this gas leakage on the Community 7 that's part of the motorway right now. And just for the benefit of you who are listening to us, who will probably be using the motorway, you can log on to Facebook at 3FM 927. Also on YouTube at 3FM 927, we're showing live videos and pictures of what's happening at this scene. The motorists and residents within the community have been urged to cooperate with the emergency personnel and comply with safety protocols as firefighters work to secure the area. Authorities are advising the public to remain calm and avoid the affected location while emergency teams continue efforts to manage the leak. So we're showing you these live videos and pictures of what's happening with this accident that's led to a massive gas leakage on the Tema Community 7 area on Facebook right now at 3FM 927. And Alex Kinate is joining us on the telephone for a quick conversation on this. Is with the Public Affairs Department of Ghana National Fire Service. Mr. Kinate, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Alfred. Thanks for having me.
Great. You've been at this scene of this massive gas leakage. Just paint to us exactly what's happening, even though we're seeing on our Facebook page 3FM 92.7 the video is quite troubling and worrying, is it not?
Yes. So around 2 p.m., we received a call through our control room of a gas leakage at Tema Community 7 in front of the Tema Technical Institute. And so we quickly dispatched our team from Tema Industrial Area, which was closest to the scene. And upon arrival at the scene, they realized that the leakage was quite massive. The tanker was carrying in excess of about 19,800 liters of gas. And so we had to quickly make sure that we contained the situation from getting out of hand. And so we had to call for reinforcement, looking at the kind of leak that was, or the quantum of gas that was being leaked. We had to again call on our team from Tema Motorway to go and augment the efforts of the officers from industrial area at the scene. And so fortunately, as at 1 hour ago, I can say that we've been able to put the situation under control and to avert any disaster while doing that.
I see. And what was the extent of the leakage, and how were you able to contain it because of the environmental impact of a leakage of this nature, based on the earlier information you gave to us that it was a massive one, and with what we are seeing on the screen right now with the tanker and the gas just leaking out uncontrollably, clearly poses some environmental concerns, is it not?
Exactly. Looking at the fact that it happened by the roadside at the bus stop, and mind you, this is a school where there are a lot of students there. By the roadside means that a lot of cars passing, cars obviously with smoke, coming out from the exhaust and all, which if they come into contact with this gas, could be very crazy. We are talking about a massive 19,823 liters of gas. And so after the time, we were able to do the cooling and to prevent further leakage. We were able to salvage about 15,034 liters of gas. And so you can imagine that in excess of about over 4,000 liters of gas leaked into the air. And so we have to make sure that we park our fire attendants in a way that blocks traffic or that prevents vehicles from driving close by, and also quickly deploy officers close by to ensure that nobody indulges in any activity that involves open flames, which could come into contact with this gas in the atmosphere.
You're talking about over 4,000 liters of gas released into the atmosphere.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, but that's serious.
That's very serious. And so even to the firefighters, that was a big risk for us. And so even at the peril of our lives, we are determined to work. And so it was difficult because looking at the leak, before anyone can work on it, we have to make sure that there's enough cooling with foam concentrate, and then, make sure that there's enough cooling. That's the more reason why even at home we recommend people keeping their gas cylinders outside, because the gas cylinders require cooling. And so even if you keep your gas cylinders indoor, it means that you are depriving it of the cooling that it requires. And so we had to do excessive cooling in order to be able to contain the leakage before we're able to salvage the situation.
And so for the motorists who are listening to us right now, who may be using the motorway through Committee 7, it's safe to use this road?
Fortunately, yes. Fortunately, it's safe to use this road. And so we'll still ask them to be cautious around this road. Obviously, because we've been able to do the cooling, the gas has dissipated into the air. But then again, we'll still ask people to be cautious when proceeding. But for now, the situation has been put well under control, and there's no threat to life.
Thank you so much, Dewan Alex Kenate there joining us. He is with the Ghana National Fire Service Public Affairs Department, and just giving us an update on what's happening on the Tema motorway. If you're just joining us here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, a massive gas leakage from a gas tanker reported earlier at the Tema Committee 7 in front of the Tema Technical Institute bus stop. Fire Service has deployed firefighters from the Tema industrial area and motorway fire stations to the scene to contain the situation and prevent potential danger. The update we're getting from the fire service is that it is okay to use the road right now, because the fire service said they've been able to contain the situation and then also bring it under control. If you go on our Facebook page right now, our 3FM927, we're showing you some videos and pictures of this gas leakage, a massive one. According to the fire service, 4,000 liters of gas was released into the atmosphere as a result of this leakage, and that's quite concerning. And the environmental impact of what we've experienced over the last 2 hours also is one to watch. So we're keeping an eye on how things are playing out there, and what the EPA and other agencies concerned about this pollution as a result of this massive gas leakage. Will respond to this here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. But away from that, let's get into the matters with the NDC, because the governing NDC is holding a crucial meeting as we speak over its internal elections. The meeting is believed to be a crucial step since that deadline given to appointees to resign elapsed. It is now 28 days clear since the deadline giving government appointees to resign before participating in the internal contest. Earlier this year, Party General Secretary, as the NDC General Secretary, announced that appointees, including ministers and deputy ministers, chief executive officers, managing directors and their deputies, metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives, must resign from that office at least 6 clear months before filing a nomination. This, the party says, will create a level playing field for all contestants. Now, we're going to be joined shortly by Rashid Tanko Computer, who is Director of IT and Elections for the NDC. And if this directive is anything to go by, he's also going to be affected by it, because he is the CEO of GIFEC and the Deputy Director of IT and Elections. And so we'll be finding out from him what is happening right now, if he is going to resign as the CEO of GIFEC to contest the position in the party, or just do away with the party's position and also focus on GIFEC. Rashid Tanko Computer, good evening.
Good evening, Alfred. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. And I hope all is well with you and GIFEC.
Oh, we are doing fantastic.
Great. Now, the party's directive to you, and not just you, but everyone who intends to contest a position in the party, to resign your position in government before contesting has elapsed. And if this directive is anything to go by, you are one person, an example, who will be impacted, because you are GIFEC CEO, you are Director of Elections and IT for the NDC. So what's going to happen to you? What have you decided to do?
Very well, Alfred. Let me say good evening to you and your cherished listeners across the globe. I must say I am not affected because my position is not an elective position. It's an appointed one. So I'm not part of the bracket. It is only those who are interested in contesting the elected positions who are affected by the decision of the National Executive Committee to bar them from contesting. I mean, so that is the situation as of now. And then it was taken at our last National Executive Committee meeting. And just recently, I think there was even a ruling on it at the Accra High Court. Some party members sent it to the High Court to test it, and then it was dismissed. So as we speak now, it's binding.
I see. But then, even though you are not going to be affected, other people will be affected, right? In the party. For instance, Sami Jemfi, who is the CEO of Gold Board, was the director of, or is the director of communications for the party. There's been no indication of he resigning as CEO of Gold Board to recontest any position. What happens to these people? I mean, who are going to be affected by this directive? Has there been any attempt to negotiate their way through this directive?
Alfred, it's a decision by the National Executive Committee of the party, and that decision is to be respected by every party member. And it's a personal choice. I mean, contest is a personal choice. Some would decide to step aside, some would decide not to. It's a personal choice when a decision of that nature is taken at the highest level. So they cannot coerce anybody to either resign or not. It depends upon you. You have to weigh the options and see whether you want to resign and contest, or you rather maintain your position in government and then allow others to contest. That is a personal choice.
There was a meeting earlier, we understand. Any idea of the discussions at this meeting, this high-level meeting in the party earlier today? And
every Tuesday we have our FEC meeting, Functional Executive Committee meeting every Tuesday. It's a scheduled meeting for every Tuesday. So one of them is just, and we are in the election meeting. For now, we're just reviewing the branch election. We concluded that over the weekends, and then I'm putting the data together and then fine-tuning everything. So that's the meeting we just look at critically to see how best we can launch ourselves into the constituency elections. Now that we are done with the branch elections and everything went successfully, we're now thinking of how to start with the branch, in the constituency elections itself. So that is what we're looking at for the day.
And what's the calendar for these elections? Because the MPP has started theirs already, as you're aware.
Oh yes. Now that we are done with the branches, we are just going straight into the constituency elections. I can quickly. Hello, Alfred.
I can hear you.
Okay. So I can quickly give you the constituencies elections. So this is the constituency timetable. Is we will start the constituency executive election. That is registration of new members. We have done with that. Picking of nomination for the branches. We are done with it. So now we are now going to move straight into the constituencies, and that one there, the timetable will start Tuesday, 15th to 17th September. We should be opening nominations for the constituencies.
I see.
Okay. Yes, and so within September that we are going to do it. We are hoping that by 29th September to 1st October, we should have finished all appeals, and 24th to 25th October, we should do elections for the constituencies. That is the timetable we have given ourselves.
We'll keep an eye on that and also update our listeners on this. Thank you so much, Rashid Tanko.
I'm grateful, Alfred.
Appreciate it. He is Director of IT and Elections for the NDC. But let's go straight to the New Patriotic Party, because what we're learning today is that the caucus in the Ashanti region, that's the NPP caucus, they will be holding a vigil night for the incarcerated Ashanti Regional Chair, Parliamentary Boesiako, also known as Chamawontumi. The event has been slated for August 14. Chamawontumi was on July 20 convicted on 6 counts by an Accra High Court over his involvement in illegal mining. His party, the NPP, is currently appealing the process. Then shortly, Kweku Sapong, who's the deputy regional organizer of the NPP in the Ashanti region, will be joining us. But one issue that was quite clear yesterday is the party's directive to the legal team of the NPP to take over all cases involving Chamawontumi, and you heard Samuel Atachia make that point and quite strongly confirming what the party had decided. But this matter and this directive of the party stoked some legal debate. So I sought to find out from the Director of Communications of the NPP, Richard Ahiagba, what led to the party's decision to give this directive that its legal team should take over all of the cases involving Chamawontumi. We'll get into that shortly and get some legal perspective to it. But let's go on to the telephone right now and speak to Kweku Sapong. He is the Deputy Regional Organizer of the NPP in the Ashanti region. Sapong, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Great. Now, we're just getting notice. In fact, we have a copy of your statement, which we'll put on our Facebook page at 3FM927, regarding this vigil you want to hold for Chamawontumi. What's the end objective of this vigil?
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
What's the end objective of this vigil that you intend to hold on August 14?
Okay, good evening to you and your cherished listeners. What we want to tell Ghanaians is the injustice we think that has been on our regional chairman, Chamawontumi. At the back of our mind, we think the jail term given to him was influenced by political decisions. And for that matter, the day that we set for the vigil is a day before our regional executive elections, which we know that if he were to be around, he will be at the center of affairs. So we use that same program to let people know how we think our regional chairman has been mishandled, how things has gone. Because since he was jailed, I think people are alluding it to Galamsey. Galamsey is still ongoing. And just some few days, we saw a video on some networks that even in front of a police station, Galamsey is going on. So if he was jailed because of Galamsey, and Galamsey is still going on, then we think the nation has not been fair to him.
So the fact that Galamsey is ongoing, you say Chamawontumi was dealt unfairly. What do you mean by that? What's the correlation between the two?
Now, what I meant is putting pieces together of what we've heard from the Attorney General, from his lawyers. We think that once what they told us is before you can give a land to someone to mine on it, there should be an assignment. The assignment should be a written document that should be approved by the minister in charge of lands and forestry. You and I know that there hasn't been any written document. So on basis that the court accepted evidence to jail Chamawontumi, we think it wasn't fair.
Okay, but Mr. Sapong, this particular point which you and the lawyers of Chamawontumi have been making has been debated and debunked by lawyers and even the trial judge. Have you seen the judgment, by the way? Have you seen the full judgment?
I've gone through the judgment.
And you didn't see the answer to this question answered?
Judgment from a judge is also his opinion, so far as the evidences are put on the table. It is his opinion. So Chamawontumu's lawyers too also have their opinion. So if other lawyers have different opinion, it doesn't make it that what the judge said was true. It's not always that majority is right.
And that's why you are in court to contest it or appeal this particular ruling. But until then, this judgment holds, and that's why he's in prison.
Yes, I know that the lawyers are putting things together to appeal. But notwithstanding that, it is also upon the party within the region to also let the world know, let people know that this is the situation we find our chairman in. I think it's also our constitutional right to do those things.
And rightly so. And you're saying this comes a day before your elections.
Yes.
And he was seeking to be the national chair of the party.
No. It's before the regional election.
Yes. And so obviously the regional elections, he being the regional chairman currently, he will play a critical role.
Yes, would have been at the helm of our affairs in the organization of the elections.
And also, obviously, be able to get others who are aligned to him to also occupy certain key positions in the region, isn't it?
Sorry?
And also be able to get others who are aligned to him get into some key positions in the region, isn't it? Hello, Mr. Sapo.
Yes, sir. Rightly so.
So
he will be supervising. He should have been supervising the elections within the region. But this a time that the election is being conducted, and we find our regional chairman in the custody of the prisons. So we plan to do a vigil to let people who haven't heard, to let the world know that this is the situation our chairman finds himself in.
Are you a supporter of Chairman Wontumi for national chairman?
I think that question, I don't know how to answer it. We are talking about Chairman Wontumi as regional chairman who has been convicted for 20 years. So supporting him as national chairman or what? Even the party as a whole came to tell the nation that they think that the whole jail term is influenced by politics and it's political. So we are talking in line with what the party has come out to say. And supporting Chairman Wontumi to wouldn't be a bad thing to do, I think so.
I see. Thank you. Kweku Ata Sapon. Thank you very much for joining us. He is a deputy regional organizer of the MPP in the Ashanti region. They're joining us here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. They are organizing a vigil for Chairman Wontumi on 14th August. Today is the 28th. That's some 16 days away from today. But the party, as the MPP, has directed its legal team to take over all cases involving Chairman Wontumi. And this is what Richard Ahiangba, who's the director of communications of the MPP, had to say about this.
I don't see any point about that. Right. If there was any concern, it was probably why did you change the lawyer from the Appointees to Atachia on this exim case, which he had not recused or had not handed over. And that was the answer I gave you, that so that we can have one system or one strategy to deal with all the cases. But beyond that, I don't see any question that suggests that, the party has the right or not to appoint or to have somebody take over the case. That should not arise.
I see. Now, it's the right of the client to seek a counsel of his choice, isn't it? And that's why I asked that question. This decision, was it with the consent of Chairman Wontumi?
Absolutely. I mean, it was not as if he was easily incapacitated and cannot contribute to the conversation. He was in court today when Atachia came and announced a development to the court that following that development, he is taking over the case, and the court agreed.
That's Richard Ahiangba, the director of communications of the MPP, but a private legal practitioner, Justice Abdullah, says the MPP has no right to give a directive to its legal team to take over the cases involving Chairman Wontumi if Chairman Wontumi has not communicated with his counsel and the Apiakobi and agreed that this is a decision he backs.
First off, I wonder the kind of authority the party, as an institution or as a body, has to make that kind of call. No political party of any kind, not even a family, whether the immediate or extended family, has that kind of authority to determine who represents who as a lawyer in any matter. Unless the circumstances are such that the one being represented is incapacitated. It is only under such a circumstance, or he has given an authority to someone else to determine who represents him in any given matter. Outside of this, no political party, no individual, no family, no parent, no executive authority, nothing can determine in whose private capacity another person, being a lawyer, can represent, because it is a contract personal to the two persons involved, the lawyer and the client. And no one else has that kind of authority without an express authority from the person that authorizes such conduct. Saying this does not make me oblivious of the fact that considering that the party would want to rope itself into this issue of Chairman Untumi, I'm tempted to think that perhaps some discussions have gone backdoor between Chairman Untumi and the political party, and perhaps he has given them authority to undertake this exercise. But that, for me, would be another completely, if you like, a wrong position, considering that Chairman Untumi expressly appointed Andy Appiah-Kubi. Yes?
As Justice Abdullahi, private legal practitioner there. So live here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, also on Kesmi 107.1 and on W 93.5 in one beyond. The Ghana Private Road Transport Union, GPRTU, has suspended its proposed 30% transport fare increase as government faces growing pressure to cushion consumers against rising fuel prices. The Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies, COMAC, is calling for the temporary removal of the additional 1 Ghana cedi levy on every liter of fuel, warning that further price increases could follow if international market and exchange rate pressures persist. Petrol is currently selling at 14 cedis 68 pesos at major outlets, while diesel selling at 17 cedis 71 pesos. Let's put it on record also that some of the oil marketing companies have started reducing their prices at the pumps as of this morning because of the reduction of the crude oil prices on the world market, as we monitored from last night, dropping from $105 to about $80 as of last night, and it's been on the decline for some time now. Let's get a bit more into this, and Wisdom Safo, who's our research team, let's get a trend analysis of this. What are we seeing right now?
So, Alfred, we started this year with crude oil, Brent crude, selling at $58.9 to the barrel per barrel on the world market. It climbed up to $112.2 per barrel, and by May we were hitting around $113.6 per barrel on the international market. But there was a ceasefire, and we saw a steep decline to somewhere around $70.4 in July, and now we are back to 100.7 by middle to late July. Then just yesterday, as you rightly mentioned, we had another ceasefire talks, and we got $87.2 per barrel. Just 10 minutes ago, I checked, and we are currently at $78.5 per barrel. After, if you look at the determinants of the world prices for crude oil, it's mainly supply and demand and speculation. So anytime there is this speculation about a ceasefire, you see that the markets also react positively. Mm-hmm. But there is this assumption of hoarding. When these economies and these countries realize that the crude markets is becoming volatile, they try to hoard and build their internal buffers so that there will be enough for their refineries to refine. But there's one important thing we have to take note. You have to look at the origin, or where Ghana gets its refined petroleum imports. So we get 80% from Europe, Russia, Belgium, and coal. We have 20% from the Gulf regions, which are currently affected by the tensions. And there's a reverse demand. You realize that we rather import the refined fuel from Europe, but these European refineries also depend on the Gulf regions for the raw or heavy crude to refine. So any shake-up within the Gulf regions will have a rippling effect on the European supply as well, and it will affect the world market. Then we have our pricing formula. If you come to Ghana, what determines the price of a fuel? We have three things. We have been trumpeting this over and over again. We have the ex-refinery price, which is the FOB price, which constitutes 61%. We have the 21% taxes and levies, and we have the 18%, the OMCs and BDCs margin. So for the 61%, that is what is mainly affected by the exchange rate and the global prices. Then we move on to the taxes and levies. I was calculating all the taxes on our fuel. That's our fuel pricing formula. You realize that we have in excess of 3 Ghana cedis. In terms of taxes, the tax components constitute about 3 Ghana cedis of our ex-pump fuel price per liter. And we realize that we introduced the 1 Ghana cedi fuel levy. That's what we are calling for. Kumak is calling for the abolishment of the 1 cedi fuel levy. But it was introduced for a purpose. Actually, when it came in 2025, it was projected to rake in excess of 5.7 billion Ghana cedis in revenue to help revamp our energy sector. But it actually did well, meaning fuel is a very good way to tax the people because you're able to cover a larger tax net, right? You realize that we're able to realize in excess of 8.81 billion Ghana cedis in terms of revenue, way above what they projected to help boost the energy sector. But let's look at the trend. You know, NPA has been setting price floors over the years. Currently, the fuel prices had become volatile. It's not the same across all the fuel stations. But we started in January around 11 Ghana cedis per liter for diesel and around 10.99 for petrol. By April, we hit 17.1 for diesel and 13.3 for petrol. That was when the Israel-Iran conflict was really topical and was at its peak. Then we saw some relative stability around May, where we were buying diesel for 15.6 and petrol for 13.25. But now we are currently at 17.71 for diesel and 14.68 for petrol. But as you rightly mentioned, some OMCs are reducing prices, but there have been calls for Ghana to refine its own crude because we are over-dependent on external supply, and if your economy and your fuel is largely imported, any shake-up on the world market will have a rippling effect on your ex-pump fuel price. That's why there have been calls for the revamp of TOR. Just last week, we heard that TOR has started refining our own crude. So the coming days looked very interesting, Alfred.
Indeed, and that's one to watch. We're keeping an eye on the pumps and how the oil marketing companies will respond to this decline in the price of crude oil on the world market, because some OMCs increased their prices even before the next pricing window. Sometime last week, we saw prices going up, although the next pricing window was supposed to kick in after the 31st of July. So this increase we saw last week, there are calls to have them reduce it to the previous prices because of this reduction we're seeing on the world market. So we'll keep an eye on it and be updating you, our viewers and our listeners as well. But Roland Walker, my colleague, went into town, sat in some of the public transport, the vehicles, and interacted with commuters regarding what's happening with the fuel prices.
Of our earnings, not even talking about personal expenses and everything. Transport alone is taking almost half of whatever we are earning. Yes.
And if there is an increment, what does it mean?
It will affect us. It will affect us because you have to calculate how much the budget for the week. And if they are increasing transport, it means that you have to take money from whatever buffer you have. Probably if you have some emergency savings somewhere, you don't have any choice than to take money from them, which you might not be happy, but you don't have a choice because you have to go to work and earn money.
Charlie, it is hard.
It is difficult, my brother.
Yeah.
It is difficult.
Something has to be done about it, right? Because once the fare is increased, we're in trouble.
Of course. I think government has to
intervene
and speak to the drivers and the union heads to adjust. If there can be an adjustment or there can be negotiation, if it can be done, we'll be very, very happy about that.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
It cannot certainly be easy. But we also need to have the conversation on a bigger scale. And that's what we're talking about.
That's Roland Walker there. But road transport operators have, as we speak, suspended a proposed 30% increase in transport fares as they await developments in the next fuel pricing window expected on Friday. The unions had earlier announced plans to adjust fares in response to rising fuel costs, but have put the decision on hold after government appealed for more time to implement measures aimed at reducing petrol prices. Deputy Public Relations Officer of the GPRTU, Samuel Amoa, said the union's leadership agreed to temporarily suspend the planned 30% increase in fuel prices following discussions with government and what is happening on the world market now with fuel prices, that's the crude oil prices, reducing as we speak. Let's take a listen to the Deputy PRO of the GPRTU on their decision to suspend the increases.
Time now, like from last week, we came out with a proposal, 30% fare increment proposal, and we were asking the government to do something about, especially the petroleum product, because we have seen, that the fuel price is going, too high. As I'm speaking to you, diesel is now being sold almost 18 cedis a liter, and then the petrol too is getting to about 15 cedis a liter. Where it has gotten to, the drivers are suffering. A driver will work at the close of the day, he will use all the money to go and buy fuel. They cannot make their sales. If car owners also don't meet their sales, it's difficult for them to also repair their vehicles, for the vehicles to come back on road because of the high cost of spare parts and the other components like the lubricant. Taxes are also very high. Insurance is very high. DVLA, just this April 1st, DVLA, increased their charges. They have even introduced something that they call a delinquency. If your roadworthy get expired, the same day you don't go and renew, the next day it will attract a penalty. Some pay 80 cedis, some 100 cedis. All these things, is part of our operational cost. So based on that, we propose that if government don't do anything about, most especially the petroleum product, it's likely that we'll also come up with a fair increment of 30%. The Transport Ministry call the leadership of the transport unions, and when they call, the information given to the leadership is that they should hold on with the proposed 30% increment, and that what we are asking the government to do, government is putting some mechanism in place to make sure that the fuel price will be stabilized. So we also decided to hold on as they are saying, but the next price window is just around the corner. Hopefully by Friday, another window will open. Our investigations has proven to us that it's likely the fuel prices may go up again. So we just want to remain calm, waiting for Friday, what will happen at the pump. Then we also know what to do. Because looking at where the situation we are now, if care is not taken, most of the drivers will park their vehicles because they can't even continue to serve the public again. So that is the state we are in now. What I'll tell my drivers right now is that transport fares has not been increased. We propose 30%, yes. Government says that we should hold on to see what will happen next. So every driver should remain calm. Nobody should go out there to go and increase transport fares. When the need arises that we should increase transport fares, everybody knows the process that we go through before we do this. We'll print the papers, do our calculations, circulate it to all our members to know. And at the same time, we also talk to our passengers that they should help us to pray so that the government will intervene. Then what we are asking for is that the government should make sure that the fuel price will come down. If it happens like that, we'll also not go ahead to increase the transport fares.
as Deputy Public Relations Officer of the GPRTU, Samuel Amoa there. This is Hot Edition. We're back shortly. After this quick break, we'll go straight to Parliament to give you updates of what's happening there.
I'm not afraid to be different.
Edition on 3FM 92.7. We're going to go for the sports news now. Stay with us.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the sports segment here on 3FM 92.7 on Hot Edition. My name is Andrew Sefa Bamfo. Let's start off from the ongoing 2026 Women's African Cup of Nations, where Zambia are currently leading Egypt by a 1-0 in the opening game of Group C. Remember that the Black Queens will be in action tomorrow when they take on Cape Verde. Now, ahead of that particular game, Ghana's game against Cape Verde, Black Queens head coach Kimlas Yokegrin has declared that they want to go all out and win the tournament.
We have a team that can go all the way, but we also need to know that there are another like 6-7 teams, or maybe a potential 8 teams in this tournament that they are saying exactly the same thing. So they can also go their own ways. So we need to respect that fact, and we're having like 3 targets, I would say. One is to make the group stage. That of course will be the first one. The second goal is maybe in one way the biggest and most important, and is to win the quarterfinal to qualify for the next upcoming World Cup. Over long term, that will be the most important, I would say. But and if we make that, I mean, then it's to go all the way. Then we will not just be happy with the bronze medal. Then we're going to do everything to make the final and then go for the gold. So I see everything in 3 steps, but we do it also with confidence, but also with respect for our opponent.
And so that was Black Queens head coach Kim Lassie-Ekegren speaking. Still on the Black Queens, midfielder Chantel Boy-Hloka says the team are ready to take down Cape Verde. And rather, the team will be opening their campaign on Wednesday at the Prince Moulay Stadium in Casablanca.
Tomorrow, it's important. It's the start of the World Cup. Those girls were really excited. We've been waiting for it. I think we've prepared really well. We had a good time out here last year. So now, yeah, we're prepared to come back, do our job, and yeah, we've gelled well as a team. We're coming together. We've put the training sessions in, as coach said. We've got a good fitness coach. He's put us through our paces, and yeah, we're ready to get going.
And so that was Black Queens midfielder Chantel Boy-Hloka speaking. And let's move on to some other news, because Zinedine Zidane, the former Real Madrid manager, has been confirmed as the new head coach for the French national team. Didier Deschamps, who was the longest-serving manager for France, ended his 14-year stint in charge after the nation's semi-final exit to Spain at the 2026 World Cup. Zidane, a World Cup winner with France in 1998, has been out of management since leaving Real Madrid for a second time as head coach in 2021. The 54-year-old is widely considered to be France's greatest player and will sign a contract that will see him lead the nation through the 2030 World Cup qualifiers. Bringing an end to the sports segment here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. My name is Andrew Sifa Bamfo.
To Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, also on Kesme 107.1 in Tamale and beyond, and on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. Let's go straight to Parliament, because the minority is accusing government of failing to prioritize spending in the critical sectors of the economy, arguing that the misallocation of public resources is slowing economic growth and undermining national development. Parliament has begun the debate on the 2026 mid-year budget review, with opposition MPs criticizing the government over a revenue shortfall despite the introduction of new tax measures aimed at boosting domestic revenue mobilization. And shortly, Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Christian Yale is going to be joining me for a quick conversation of what's happening in Parliament right now. Chris, we've been hearing the minority raise questions about the cut in expenditure, but what has the majority also been saying in this regard?
So what we know is that for the majority MPs, they are of the view that this mid-year fiscal policy review is one of the best. Also looking at all the things that government outlined through finance minister. In fact, when you listen to the Sagnarigu MP, Ata Issa, he is of the view that unlike the concerns by the minority that government is not spending, government has rather been spending in the right places. And what they have been seeking to do is to more or less try to meet their target. Now, he draws some comparisons, goes back to 2017, 2018, 2019, and itemizes the targets that the NPP set for themselves during that period, and the fact that they couldn't meet the same target. Now, he also lists or talks about what the finance minister indicated in 2025 and how that was almost achieved, and made us think that, see, it is far from the truth to say that government is not spending. We can listen to Ataisa, who is a member of the Finance Committee, speak on the floor.
We'll get to Ataisa in a bit, but let's get a bit more into what the minority has also been saying, please.
Yes, we know that. Another thing that the ranking member on the Economy and Development Committee, Kojo Nkrumah, has been saying is that, look, when you look at the targets the government set, they have under-executed their budget by some 30 billion cedis, half year 2026. Now, he goes ahead to talk about one point the minority has made over and over again about what they see as over-sterilization of the economy, which they believe has helped government to look good in the books, but not having the same reflect on the ground. Now, he mentions market women, traders, who he says have come to a realization that despite all the things, clothed in what he sees grammar by government, things are not the same because inflation may be coming down, but when you get to the market, it is not the same. He mentions Aboso Kai spare parts dealers who are of the view that despite the promises given to them that spare parts prices are going to be reduced, none of that has been seen yet. And so he's of the view that government is trying to look good in the booth, but they were in a way exposed by what he sees as the impact of the recent flooding. So that is what the ranking member on the Economy and Development Committee has been saying. If we have his voice, we can listen to Kojo Nkrumah, who is MP for Ofasai.
Well, let's take a listen to Ataisa first, please.
10% inflation ban. That guarantees predictability and easy planning. Mr. Speaker, if you have an economy that has an environment of interest bank lending rate falling from about 32% to 15.6%, Ghana reference rate falling from about 29% to 10.06%, and you also have the policy rate falling from about 29% to 14%. That guarantees easy and cheaper source of capital for private sector. And I'm not surprised that access to private capital has grown by 22.8%. Mr. Speaker, Ghana, indeed, after the presentation of the media review, we had one press conference addressed by 3 speakers. Mr. Speaker, it is worth noting to understand that the external sector of Ghana has improved. Ghana is now respected. Ghana is no longer described as a junk economy. All rating agencies across the globe has rated Ghana stable with a positive macro outlook. Mr. Speaker,
that is good. But, Mr. Speaker, go to the Finance Minister's constituency. I'm going to demonstrate to this House 3 very key projects that he's gone against what he's reporting to this House. 1, the Mankasim Ajumaku Swedru Road is 111 kilometers. It's going to cost this country about $250 million. Single source procurement. Secondly, he is going to build a military barracks in Ajumaku.
That's what's happening in Parliament with the debate over the mid-year budget review. Christian Yale, Parliamentary Affairs correspondent there, giving us updates. You can find more of this on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. Thank you for staying with us here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Join me at 10 p.m. on TV3 for Ghana Tonight. I am Alfred Okonse. The drive continues. DJ Abiam and Trig Martin. Have a good evening.